Let me begin by making certain clarifications, which is key to our discussions today. I believe all of us seated in this hall here are trying to champion the cause of our country and trying to make a positive impact on the lives of our people, who we are supposed to serve. We are not representing an individual interest group, but we are representing the country, which is the Gambia. We will have divergent views, but at the end of the day, our common and collective interest is how do we better the lives of the Gambian people, irrespective of our political affiliation, irrespective of our positions in the society. So I want us all to have that notion that we are gathered here to put heads together, disagree to agree on the way forward. That is very key. And again, I want to sincerely caution some of us who are good in sharing information. Please let us try and share information that is balanced. Balanced reporting in our profession is key. When we are to give people information, let's give them accurate information for them to make their own analysis and make their own judgment. Let us try and avoid unbalanced reporting. It can trigger a lot of inconsistency in our work. It can trigger disputes, argument, which is going to cause a setback. It's not going to help any of us here. It's rather unfortunate that it has occurred, but I believe we will all take responsibility of ensuring that we put a stop to it. The Select Committee is not an enemy to any of the councils. The National Audit Office is not an enemy or does not go out to carry out their exercise and witch hunt councils. Equally, the GPPA. But like I said earlier on, we are all bestowed with the responsibility of being of service to the Gambian people. That is why you have mayors, mayoresses, chairpersons elected in respective councils to work with the CEOs and other council staff to deliver the service. But of course, you have the GPPA and the National Audit Office to go and see what they are doing on the ground. It's all towards ensuring that they are delivering efficient and effective service. And we as a Select Committee are also given the powers to perform oversight, all geared towards nothing else but to ensure that the services are effective and efficient. So if we all have that notion and understanding, we will not be seeing each other as enemies, but we will have the understanding that we are all of service to the Gambian people. Whatever must have transpired, I want us to put the past behind and look forward to ensuring that come the next 2 years, when we review our work collectively, we will all raise our heads so high in the sky and embrace one another because of the positive changes that we have made in the lives of the people as per our respective positions. Unless and until we are able to achieve that, we will all go home bowing our heads and we will all go home in shame. There will be no winner, we will all be losers. And we want to avoid that in as much as we can. So please, I want to urge you all, let us be open and talk to one another, frankly, without any reservation. That is the only way we can reach a common position, and that is the only time we are able to take a decision that will be an informed decision, a decision that will be of benefit to the people we are supposed to serve. Going further, our convergence here today, we have held a series of meetings in this very hall. I remember the Vice Chairperson, Honorable Yakumba Jaite, chairing the meeting of the regional councils, which I came late and I attended. Honorable Sunkari Baji also chaired another meeting which comprises of councils within the Greater Banjul area, the only city council, municipal council, and the Bikama area council. I think that was a week before last. All geared towards how do we reach a common agreement as per the key challenge, which is the preparation of the financial statement. And this information was derived from the audit that was conducted by the National Audit Office. It became an issue, and I kept saying it, that it has impeded the work of this select committee. Since the council started appearing before us, we have not been able to lay a single report at plenary, as per the activity reports that were submitted to us. Because we will also not go to plenary and present a report that will be thrown back on us. We know we are not perfect, we are human, but we should also be extra careful in the way we go about our work. So this is what brought about, let's come together as a family and try to know what the challenges are, what gaps exist, how are we able to fix those gaps. Together, we will be able to pave a way out and ensure that councils go back, do their work, and submit the activity report with an acceptable financial statement. I believe this is why we are here today. When Honorable Yakumba Jaite met with the rural councils, you reached an agreement. Honorable Baji equally reached an agreement with the councils within the Greater Banjul area. Now we are here to fuse them together and reach an agreement where we will all go back to our respective positions and do what is expected of us in accordance with the Local Government Act and the Financial Act. That being said, I will allow my colleagues to also buttress on the points, or maybe bring on board some of the points that I may have left out. I will equally allow the Director General of the National Audit Office, Director General of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority, the Local Government Service Commission, the chairperson is here, and some other members of the commission. And again, we will do justice to listen to all the councils, provided you want to take the floor, but you discuss among yourselves that every council would have one person speak on their behalf. Is that fair? Is that a fair game? I'm not getting the reaction of the members and the people. I'm not getting your reaction. Everybody here, is that a fair deal? All right. Then we begin with the National Assembly members. Please, I urge you to be very brief in your interventions, or else I will have excess powers on my own to stop you. I'm kidding. Okay. Who wants to start? You can wait for the mic for the press to. Press, can you transfer the mic? Starting with the select committee.
Hello? 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 Sorry, pass that mic to her.
This one?
Yes. This one's working.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Get this one. Get this one. That one is not working. Get this one.
Thank you very much, honorable colleagues, members of the NPA fraternity, the Ministry, Leaders of the Land, representative of the National Audit Office, distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, media partners. The chairman has rightly pointed out focus activity. Only two other previous meetings that were held in this very forum. Section 109 of the 1990 Constitution gives the National Assembly the mandate to look into the activities of NDA. And as a select committee, we are very much worried with our inability to do our job as required. Our concern is to clear oversight also over the local government and hold the taxpayer responsibility. So fail to do our job as a result of the council's inability to prepare the bank's financial statements, standard one to that effect, that's a very big waste for the select country. And as a result, as the chairman has alluded to previously, it's a shame on us for 2 or 3 years that we couldn't lay any report in the plenary to indicate to our colleagues that we have done our job accordingly. I've said it previously that the taxpayer deserve a lot. But unfortunately, actually, we are unable to do our job because of the said problem. And as a result, that we want to also come together as a family. Let us be very, very frank in our discussions so that we can come up with lasting solutions that's geared towards the addressing of this chronic disease. Finance is key. But the taxpayer pays his or her money in expectation of receiving services and development from the local councils. But the confidence of the taxpayer within the council is diminished. And that's the confidence that we want to regain. And as a result, we want the the councils to be very open to us with regards to the issues surrounding their inability to prepare financial statements, standard financial statements that effect. So what we should do in there, as our agreement, resolution we made last meeting, was that we will go a benchmark as at 2019. And according to our experts, this will enable the councils to have access to information. Because this financial statement cannot be prepared effectively in the absence of those information. So as a result, based on that advice from the SMS and from our technicians, the deadline was drawn as 2019. So I want to call on all councils to come forward to give them assistance the required law for them to do their jobs effectively. So, Chairman, without taking much of your time, this is what I want to add on to what you said previously. It's important to very, very soon and let us speak our mind. That will
I've just been informed because my assumption was this is not the first time we are meeting. It's not the second time we are meeting. We've met several times. But again, I've been informed that we have people that are following our deliberations. So it's important that they know who are in the hall here. So as a result, we should do a self-introduction. Can we start from the gentleman here so that viewers will know who are in the hall? No, it will go all the way to the lady with the scarf. CEO Banjul comes all the way here. PRO Bikama all the way there. Then it starts with Chairman, Basse Area Council. Then it comes that way. Wait for the mic. Viewers. No, the cameraman I want to get him. Can you capture him whilst, can you capture them whilst they are introducing themselves, please? Ah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good morning to you all. I am Honorable Lamin J. Sale, the member of Bulkawa South constituency.
Good morning to everybody. I'm Honorable Keba Diallo, member of National Assembly constituency, and also a rapporteur of this election.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, member of the Foreign Protect, member.
Good morning. My name is Honorable member of Good morning to you all. I'm Honorable Madam Samsa, member, and also a collection member of 2016 representing National Convention Party.
Yeah, good morning to you all. I am Honorable Foreign Islamic, member of Mana constituency, and member of this. Honorable Father Ibrahim,
Yeah.
Yeah, we are sitting and
Is there not a single mic that can go around?
It's not working. Fajiba have gone to call IT.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatou Jiba, Director of Local Governance, Ministry of Lands, Regional Government, and Logistics Affairs.
Introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Fatou Jiba, Committee Clerk.
Musa Amul Nyasi, Chairperson, Select Committee.
Good morning. I am Yakumba Jaite, Vice Chair of this committee.
David Clements, Ministry for Lands, Regional Government, and Religious Affairs.
Aladdin Sedikan, Principal, Ministry of Lands, Regional Government, and Religious Affairs.
Morning, I am Mr. Selindon, Principal, Ministry of Lands.
Okay. The rest, you are from the media. You don't want to identify yourselves? Oh.
No.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Mohammed Jam, Director of Finance by
Good morning, I'm Mr. Adam James, representing the Secretary General of the Gambia Association of Local Government.
Well, okay. All right. The press, they don't want to identify themselves. Well and good. All right, we continue taking the interventions from the National Assembly members, members of the Select Committee. Any other intervention, or you want to reserve? Okay, Honorable Njai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and everybody within the hall. Honorable Chair, since this meeting is to set a baseline, I think is a turning point of all the struggles we are making to make sure that finally we do our job as expected. We must also recognize the Council's efforts that they did for the past years, even though they could not prepare for us the audited financial statement, which is expected. But during the discussion, we definitely understand that where the baseline was set was one of the problems. That is why it has been delayed up to now. But that being the case, now we are setting a new baseline today. We think that the problem is now going to be a history. Meaning, in the very near future, we are expecting the councils, after this meeting, you have no time to waste anymore. You have to do all efforts to make sure that you prepare this, the baseline that will be set during your tenure of office, which will make it easier for you to prepare them so that we can make a headway. All these sittings, all this process are not mere. It's to show accountability. And you have a job to do, we know that. And you are doing your job. But because we ask you to start somewhere which you were not aware of, definitely we understand that it was a nightmare for you. But now we are trying to set a baseline that find you in office. Then definitely, since the head of the councils and the staffs, the key staffs of the councils are all here, we want all of you to pay great attention so that when you go back, not even tomorrow, but you start work today to make sure that these things are prepared as quickly as possible. We are going to start sitting this week, next week, which is this month, but we are hoping that after this sitting, our next sitting, we will be able to lay a very good report of the council's financial statement. So we are here, as we said before, as family who we all have the same direction, that is to see that taxpayers' money are well managed and well spent. So we thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further intervention? Yes, Madam Secretary.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the first of all, I want to thank the municipalities and the councils that see the need for collaboration, because we wanted to see this thing, or wanting to see this day come, wherein the committee would have a close collaboration with the councils. And of course, you could agree with me that it is in line with section 109 of the Constitution that give the mandate of this committee to make inquiry with the government, parastatals, agencies and departments about the financial dealings, in as much as resources are committed by taxpayers to finance such activity. However, I want to reiterate that this baseline we are about to set today is more of a short-term measures, but the long-term measure should be a realization of the Public Finance Act, whereby the time frame is captured, constant reporting standards, 3 months before the end of every fiscal year. We expect the councils to present their financial statements and audit findings to this select committee. We understand that governance is about continuity. These problems are not created by you. Of course, you found them there by your predecessors, who actually are the pioneers of what you are really faced with today. But however, it is also noted, or it's also agreed that governance is about continuity. So therefore, whether they did it or he didn't do it in a regime, once you are the current man in charge, it's bold enough to take responsibility and pave the way forward. So it's important for countries to understand that based on there will be a 3 month before end of fiscal year, councils should report to the select committee to report their financial transactions and audit queries, so that it will give this particular committee a foresight, enough adequate information in terms of defending the budget, because we are looking for a long-term solution whereby to see council to see the difference. And this goes with responsibility, because once you don't demonstrate beyond that you are capable to manage, properly manage and utilize the resources given to you, or that you collect from taxpayers judiciously through transparency, this committee also would be in a position to fight for your autonomy, whereby you can be independent. So therefore, without wasting more to do, without taking time, I want to we are all together, all in to stand with you side by side, so that we can eradicate or the backlog of those reports that are declared. So that is the thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Can we have the honorable member for the council, Honorable Sam?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for giving me the floor. First of all, I want to seize the opportunity to thank the entire regional governance fraternity. That is all the stakeholders that are here. I think this convergence is also extremely very important. There were previous meetings where focus was led on certain specific areas, and the major problem we encountered, that was the issue of capacity. There were a lot of consultation with the technicians with regards to drawing a line. How can we bring the local governance fraternity on a very firm footing in terms of reporting? The issue of financial statement was very key. Thank God we were able to arrive to a conclusion whereby we want to use 2019 as a benchmark to start preparing standard financial statements. Notwithstanding, this meeting is extremely important, as I said. You are the people at our regional level. Any problem you are confronted, you know it. If you still have some of these problems, we can still share it and see how best can we debate over this and have a position to it, which is extremely very important. Nonetheless, I still want to urge the leadership of all the councils, which is a political office. Like us, the National Assembly members, we are also politicians. And one way or another, very soon our time will come to an end. And what is incumbent upon us to write a legacy, a positive legacy for that matter, which cannot be done in a collective collaboration. As you understand, we, us and the council are two sides of the same coin, completely inseparable. That is why we have our able commissioners here, who are also working hand in glove with both the ministry and the National Assembly, together with all the councils, to see how best can we arrive to a position that will facilitate the quality provision of all the required reports that we did from the councils. You have a host of issues that has been mentioned from previous discussion that we did a serious post-mortem about the gaps, the underlying gaps in the local councils that vary from political legislation and all those stuffs. But nonetheless now, since we are here as a family, we should not only limit to the issue of making a benchmark for 2019 in terms of preparing a standard financial statement. You still have some issues. We can still voice it out and see how best do we arrive to a conclusion, without which we believe nothing will work in this country. So that is very important. I still want to emphasize, you are the technician and you know the type of major problems that affect the issue of this financial statement and other related reports that you know. So you can still voice it out and see how best we come together. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, Honorable Tumanna.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for giving me the floor. I think I would also equally join my colleagues. This is a family discussion. This is a discussion about the interests of our country. And I think my discussion will only center on only few. That's the issue of capacity. Capacity is a major problem. When we talk about councils, the ministry is always saying that there is a capacity problem in the councils, and be the hearing ministry and councils are under the purview of the ministries. I think the minister and the entire team should look into that dimension of capacitating the councils so that all these issues that we are talking about can be forgotten. And the other thing is access to information. I believe this is one of the major problems, and this has to do with proper record keeping. If there is no proper record keeping, obviously access to information will always be an issue. And like other honorable colleagues made mention, this did not just start with these councils, but even with the previous ones, because looking into all the informations that they are trying to find, I mean, you can find out that there was no proper record keeping. So this is why, I mean, today we are in what we are. So the other thing will be the National Assembly as colleagues, as comrades. I think we also need to help councils. I mean, in terms of legislations, because there are a lot of issues with the Local Government Act of 2002, and in as much as we don't look into some of those issues, it will be very difficult for councils to perform their duties as expected. And this is one area that if we want any development in this country, it has to start with council, not even the central government. All the development in this country has to start with local council, not the central government. But if the legislation are not favorable to the councils, it will be very difficult for councils to execute their functions as expected. And I mean, these are the people that are working directly with the people on the ground. People are paying their taxes on regular basis. In some instances, we find out that many are not also paying their taxes. But even with the few who are paying their taxes, cannot get what they want from the councils in terms of development, in terms of services, as a result of the legislation that is guiding the councils. So on that note, I think we as Parliament, we have to look into that issue in collaboration with the ministry and that of the commission, so that council can work as expected, but without which
I think we will continuously talking about these issues, and they will never be addressed. And it's high time the minister and the entire team. Honestly, I want to show my dissatisfaction up to now that this is the only ministry where the minister did not go out and do how do you call it, a familiarization tour with all these councils. You cannot know your compound if you don't want to engage your people in the compound. It will be very difficult. There are a lot of issues with the councils, and if the minister did not want to team up with the councils to know their issues, it will be very, very difficult. This is the time where we have to face one another and tell the truth, even if it is bitter. It will be very difficult for councils to work. Any person in this country in a public office, you are there to work for the supreme interest of this country. Yes, we are politicians, we are that. But then the supreme interest of this country is what all the political parties or all the politicians are yearning for. So if we want to move this country, if we want to have a meaningful development in this country, the politicians have to tighten their belts, especially this particular ministry. The minister cannot just sit down in the office and look into the councils are all in these troubles. So he has to go out and make a familiarization tour to make sure that these are the problems. In fact, councils' problems, they are identical. One problem in Brikama area councils is another in Basse. So if you go out and try to make your finding, that will at least pave the way. So on that note, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tumana. We will now shift the baton to the National Audit Office, either the Auditor General or the Director who is responsible of councils. So they will agree among themselves, and somebody will take the floor. From there, we move to the GPPA. Honorable colleagues, you have the floor anytime you want to get the floor, okay?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I just want to buttress on a few points. I know whenever they said the councils are not preparing financial statement, so we'll be like, well, we're submitting this into the National Audit Office. Submitting it to the National Audit Office is another thing, but whether it is credible, I think this is the main point here. Anybody can put anything on the papers and submit it to somebody. This is my financial statement. The preparation of the financial statement, I must repeat these things over and over. It's not just one, it's a process. Starting from day one, you raise payment vouchers. Payment vouchers has to follow the necessary procedure, but that's where you apply all the controls. Record keeping is key. And then councils, there is no way that you can present credible financial statement. You don't stop making spendings and raise the payment vouchers retrospectively. You spend hundreds of thousands of dollars after 1 month, you want to go back and raise the payment vouchers. You are just doing it just to comply, but the control bits, you are not achieving anything as far as the control mechanisms are concerned. I think council need to work on that very well. Before any payment is effected, you make sure that it follows the procedures. Payment vouchers are raised for each and every payment before the payments are effected. This is very key. And then also try to stop payments done outside the main finance department. Let's say collectors collecting money, making payments outside the system. If these things are not stopped, there is no way that you can come up with a credible financial statement. National Audit Office, yes, we've been going around, and then we can continue going around because all these things we are discussing here are in our audit reports. But we don't just want to be reactive, we want to be proactive. We cannot just be going spending bits at the councils, send the report, copy the Ministry of Finance and the local government, and that's the end. Then we are not achieving our objective. Taxpayers are not achieving our objective. Then that's more of the reason why we said we cannot just continue like this. We've been doing these things for over, we said we have to let's make the stakeholders understand this is the constraint we're facing and then let's come up with a solution. Otherwise, our objectives will never be met. That is more of the reason why we said, let's bring these things so that we can discuss and then see if we could do about it. See, let's have a baseline and then work towards it. That's one of the reasons. Financial statement. If it is private audit firms, let me tell you, you are to audit an institution and they are not preparing financial statement, automatically the risk is very high. According to the standard, you should not even accept to audit that institution, but the risk is very high. But unfortunately, as National Audit Office, we don't have that liberty. No matter how scanty the information are, we have to go and report on it, the internal controls of the stakeholders. So this is the unfortunate situation that we are facing, but we are willing and we are ready to work with the councils. Anytime I got that assurance and that support from the Auditor General, anytime, any moment, they need the service of the National Audit. As far as it is within the context of our mandate, we are willing and we are always available. I can give you that assurance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Tarawale. We can move on to the Director General, GPPA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for giving us the floor. As earlier speakers said, I think the importance of the preparation of reliable financial statements by local government authorities cannot be overemphasized. It is, as you said, the Section 109 constitutional provision requirement requires you to oversee the ministries, departments, and agencies. And the state of readiness of their financial statements, I think, is very important here. Councils have fiduciary responsibilities. And what that means is that you are given positions of trust and you manage your functions according to the trust entered on you by citizens within your municipalities. It is regrettable that we have capacity issues at the municipalities. However, it cannot be continuing year in, year out. There has to be, we are told that we are thinking of accepting 2019 as base financial year. But what that means is, as of now, all the records have to be up to date and daily. You cannot wait until the year end and start working on your financial statements. It has to be daily record keeping. That is how you maintain timely financial statements. You cannot wait till the year end. We know that Section 16 of the Local Government Finance and Audit Act says 1st January to 31st December yearly as your financial year. Section 17 requires you to do yearly accounts. Section 18 requires you to ensure that all your procurements are within the Gambia Public Procurement Act. We can confirm that we have challenges as part of our yearly audits. However, there are improvements. Definitely, there are some who are ready to move, to improve, and we have had better consultations. We would not want to name names, but definitely we can confirm that there has been improvements and readiness also to ensure better compliance with the public procurement regulations. So we would want to urge you also, in that same light, to also improve on your compliance as far as the annual financial reporting is concerned. Because without true picture of the financial situations of the institutions reported at the plenary, as the chair mentioned, it is unfortunate that our most direct institutions that we work with, we have the executive, of course, and but at the local council level, you are nearest to our own, that is the citizens of the respective municipalities. It is important that your accounts are timely, accurate, and also be confirmed by the National Audit Office. I think we cannot overemphasize on that. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director. We shift the baton to the council. Who wants to start? Okay. Master Koko, Chairman. You have a mic. You can leave that mic. Leave that mic. They have a mic on their table. Okay. Director, you can switch that mic off. Switch it off.
No, mic be down.
Okay. Sure. Can you pass him that mic?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to you all. Having heard from the previous speakers and also taking cue of the previous engagements, I would want to register my profound gratitude and appreciation to this occasion and also the privilege that is being created by the Select Committee of the National Assembly for our sector. Having come this far, I think it's very progressive. This is what we yearn for in the new Gambia, and this is what we working for to realize as a country and also as municipalities. I want to appreciate the contributions, especially in terms of the advices that have been given by the various subject matter specialists, particularly the Auditors Department, the GPPA, the NAMS. You know, I think this is very healthy, and I think on behalf of my colleagues and my own behalf, with this kind of engagement and also family discussions, we are bound to move on. Probably this might not have been happening before. We wouldn't have been talking about some of these things that we are talking about right now. But it's better late than never. I think we are making headway, and with the look of things, I will believe in a space of 1 year, 2 years, we should be on sound footing. Development is a process, it's not a handbag that you just come and deliver and go. And I think we are going through that process. Finally, I want to assure that with regards to the financial statements, we cannot underestimate the importance of providing, like the auditor said, sound financial statements. We already know that financial statements were presented in some quarters, but they were not as credible as one would expect. But I can assure you that we work tirelessly, all the councils. I'm sure these councils are councils with difference. I can confidently say that. And because of that, we want to be as proactive as possible. I want to inform this gathering that so far we've done consultations from the first meeting. My office as the president of the GALGA has even gone around to meet the councils with regards to developments that ensue. And with regards to that again, we are working tirelessly to organize a high-level engagement. That will be a working session. I am sure this meeting will not exhaust some of the things, but we are working on getting us together, the partners that are seated around this table, on a working session, so that we will comprehensively deliberate on some of the issues, wherein the council should present some of the challenges. But I'm sure we cannot exhaust them here. Most of them we already know, but the working sessions will be 2 days. GALGA has already worked on it with the Ministry of Lands and Regional Affairs, and I'm sure by the time we disperse from here, information will get to the chairman of this select committee, then we go into a working session that is going to be more proactive to see how we address most of the things. Because we want to do away from this blame game. We are not interested in that. We want to move on as a government or as a people and as a country. And it cannot happen without the councils. So we are taking responsibility of all what is coming up, and we are certain that we are ready to work. I said it the last time I came. A lot of issues are coming up, but for us, we are not discouraged, and we are not consumed by, some allegations and comments coming from other quarters. Because it's not a matter of whether it was the past or present. It's a matter of how we address the situation and move on. So we also said this, we were not also consumed by the fact that the issue of the financial statement is coming up. But over time, for the past 1.5 years, we must believe that we have achieved a lot. The GPPA director just said, most of our councils are now on sound footing. We have progressively moved, in terms of our procurement procedures. My council in particular, I was around, I don't know, compliance was around 26 or so. And we are now over 50 to 60. And I am sure, because we've employed a procurement officer, we've taken the recommendations of our partners, and we are moving on. And most councils are beefing up. They are beefing up their capacity base, and we are moving on. And I'm sure with time, we will be there. So a lot of things being said about capacity or whatever, we will not want to take that to overshadow the enormous progress the councils have made. We've seen the developments that are taking place in all the area councils. We've seen the changes that are taking place that never happened here. So the issue of the state financial statement, which will not be underestimated, cannot overshadow all those achievements. So it is my belief that we are moving on gradually. But I want to, Mr. Chairman, bring to your attention these 2 days working sessions, as important as it is. So that when we sit, we will practically draw out and map out the way forward in black and white. So that all the stakeholders and all the actors or action units will also move on their way, so that not only one side will be given the blame, but we will all be in together and come up with a consensus to operate as a team. International Audit Office, Select Committee, Ministry of Lands, the councils, and all of us, the PFM, the Finance Ministry as well. These are the key stakeholders for that working session. On that note, I want to thank you very much, and we feel very privileged, and we want to thank you for these sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Lord Mayor, you want to take over? Or?
Sure. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank the Local Government Select Committee for hosting us once more. Under the leadership of Honorable Amonyasi, we'd like to thank other government agencies for being here, our Galga representatives. And I think we'll all agree we're very pleased with all the positive comments coming out. This is what progress is about. It's about moving forward. We look at history to learn, but we have to look forward if we want to progress. So we are very happy with all the positive comments. For myself, I want to limit my discussions on the financial statements, particularly of the Carnifing Municipal Council. Since I came into office, I have held financial statements from 2017 up to the current 2019, which I actually have with me. Our financial statements have never been a problem, at least for my office. However, the auditing part is a bit slow. Our last audited financial statements were of 2015 and 2016, and we had a special audit in 2017. But I don't think from our administrative side we've had an issue of delay. So I know the National Audit Office has their challenges, and there were comments made about financial statements being authentic or not. My argument on that point is, I think The policy makers are the Lord Mayor's office and the councillors who are elected and nominated. And we have the administrative arm, which is the CEO, the financial directors, and the departments under them. If the National Audit Office does believe financial statements are bogus or do not reflect the reality, we would appeal that in their management letter to the councils, they indicate it, because that's our job as policymakers to regulate the activities of the administrative arm. So I would appeal for them not to be discouraged. This is why we are here as policymakers, and this is why we are elected to be accountable to the people. In the Finance and Audit Act, it does state that councils are accountable for their finances and how they spend to the people and to the parliament. So it is our job to ensure that the administrative wing is providing credible financial statements. But I would also like to reiterate what Chairman Sane said, President of Galga, about our improved compliance. Mr. Tambedu did say that there are city councils that are more compliant, and I believe KMC is one of them. We have an excellent relation with PPA. We are almost in daily conversation about our procurements, above 500,000. We actually had also a sensitization presentation which he did for all our department heads, because this is not our money, it's not our personal money, it's taxpayers' money, and of course they want it spent in their communities for the betterment of their children and where they live. So I guess I would like to arrest my statement here and thank everybody for the positive comments, and rest assured all councils, including KMC, are very ready to work with everybody to serve our master, who are the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor. Can we have ECC bearers?
Good morning to all of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And first and foremost, I want to thank all the stakeholders here. And I really don't want to talk about financial statements, because as the Lord Mayor of KMC has alluded about these financial statements, and the last time also we have spoke about these financial statements a lot. I just want to, since we have all the honorable members here and stakeholders that are responsible for councils, I therefore want to just talk about our problems I personally think will help council. All of us will agree that councils are the government of the people. Of course, we are local government, meaning that we are nearer to the people. We know their problems better. But the problems that we are having is financial constraints. Councils are not having, they're having limited resources. When I said limited resources, everybody knows that every council is having their monies either from license, rates, or car parks. But we are not, our car parks resources are not coming. We are not having our car parks. It's either we are giving 2 million or 1 million every year, when in reality, that according to our CEOs, we were having about 20 million or 15 million every year from car parks. So this is something that is killing the councils. And another of the Ministry of Lands and Local Government. But to be very honest, we have to be very frank here. Look, governance is not taken seriously. In my own view, I think it's better that we separate Minister of Lands and Local Government. Or we try to see exactly how we can push the ministry to take local government seriously. Governance is not considered at all. And we, as the local government, we want to see that the ministry has taken the governance side very seriously. Another thing that I also want to talk about is the subvention. The subvention is not coming forth. People want to see development, but councils don't have money. We don't have money. For example, if you look at the budget for Banjul City Council, it's not even more than $1.5 million. That is not a lot of money to take care of a city. We have to be very frank with each other. And I'm bringing this only because everybody is here and we need your support. Please help us to have our subvention. The local government act is saying 25%. Our budget, development budget, should come to council. They are not giving it to us. This is really, really very discouraging. And every day, people will come to us and say, we want this development and we want that development. Yes, the financial statement is very, very, very important because people we need to know where their money is going. But how about the subvention? The subvention also is very, very important because without the subvention, we cannot have development. If I want to at least develop 3 feeder roads and say I need $10 million, the local government act is saying at least 2 million or 3 million of that money, but they are not giving us anything. And the last time, it was mentioned here that at least something was given to us. I can tell you, Mr. Chair, that Banjul City Council does not receive anything other than 500,000 or 1 million to the maximum. For God's sake, it's 1 million a money. Is that we call subvention? I beg your pardon. I think we have to start. We have to start supporting our local governments. And nobody can do it other than the honorable members here. Please do help us. We need our subventions. Councils don't have money. If you look at $1.5 million, $1.5 million as a budget, you have to pay salaries out of that. And people expect you to do development from that also. It's absolutely not possible. We are struggling to the core. And this is a fact. We can sit here talking about financial statements. Yes, it's very, very important. But we want to see the subventions, the car parks money, etc. Everything is taken away from the councils. This is really, really discouraging. We are naked. If you talk about billboards, they have taken it away from councils. And they will tell you it belongs to GRE. You talk about car parks, they have taken it from councils. And they will tell you it belongs to GRE. But not to compete them. Because we know very well that we don't have the resources. Institutions also, most of them are not paying their licenses. Most of them are not paying their licenses. And the reason best known to them, you will go after them every day, and sometimes they have to drive our people like hell. They don't even want to talk to them because they feel they are bigger than the local governments. Mr. Chair, I am begging you, please, for God's sake, help the councils. This is the reality. If the councillors and the chairmen, the mayors are here, they didn't say it, I will tell you the truth. The truth is, councils don't have resources. We have very, 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 very limited resources. Nothing is coming. The only money is from the market or from the license. And that's all. Care of those that voted for you. So support us and support us wholeheartedly for the same vision that we have, that is the development of the Gambia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have to thank also the Ministry of Local Government and all the chairpersons and mayors present, everybody in this gathering. I have a little to say because mostly the mayor and the previous chairperson that has spoken everything. But my concern is about the baseline, which is 2019, which has found us as chairperson and mayors, which will help us to determine and also to speak and to report exactly what we have found on the ground. Based on the baseline, I think we will be able to give out or present a good report to the select committee. The other issue that I wanted to elaborate is the central government. We are appealing to the select committee to focus or to help councils between the central government and local government. Because sometimes some of these projects will come to the rural areas without coming through councils. And according to the local government act, is saying that any project coming to the rural areas should pass through councils. Councils are entry point of every meaningful development and sustainability. But it's always a problem as the forest council or the forest region. It is always important for us to have such projects for sustainability, because we have realized so many projects being brought to our regions which will not last for so long. I'm appealing to talk to the central government to use councils as entry point of every meaningful development. I'm really appealing for that, which is very, very important. We are not competitors, as the ministers have just said. We are parallel to them. We are there to support their agendas and support their development programs. On that note, I don't have much to say because but to thank the entire gathering for giving us this privilege to come before you people to discuss council issues, because council issues determines the development of this country. Without council, this country cannot be developed. I can remember in Belgium where the central government could not do anything, but the local councils were there to develop and push the central government to perform. So I'm appealing for the select committee and the ministry or inline ministry to help us, to support us to have most of our subvention from council. On that note, I thank everybody.
Thank you very much. Can we have who is the next one? Bikawa, Chairman Bikawa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of the Select Committee and of this gathering. And thank to everyone who is in this hall here. First of all, I must congratulate the efforts of the Select Committee and to thank the National Audit and the GPPA also for recognizing our endeavors to be able to change the attitudes that were, within the councils. Just to buttress on the previous speakers, definitely the councils are trying their best according to what they have found in the offices. We are trying our best to make sure that we create changes within our local offices. But to be candid enough, we also have a lot of constraints that needs to be addressed. And I thank the honorable member for Tumanda for addressing that wonderful speech, which is definitely another concern for councils. And also, I mean, I would want the select committee to look into the issues critically of the councils, especially our revenue bases. The revenue base of the councils need to be looked into. For instance, a lot of revenue resources that we used to know with the councils were taken away from them, especially the case of Brikama in the council, where the giant revenue base that could be able to take care of the whole region's problem is not with them anymore. That is the mining, which is given to another department, and they are just mining in our region without even consulting us, because a lot of mining are taking place in West Coast that the council cannot even say anything about those mining areas. I think that is very unfortunate. Should also benefit a lot of resource from those mining sectors, but the council is not having anything from those places. I could remember sometimes we sent our team to go and to make assessment of all these mining sectors. But there is a particular place where a security has to tell my staffs that they will not enter there. Even if the president comes, his boss has to tell him to let the president to enter that place. I think that is a very, very unfortunate statement by those people. So definitely, we would want all these revenues to, not all, but at least some important ones to come back to the councils for us to be able to meet the demands of our taxpayers. I think, as the Lord Mayor of Banjul said, councils cannot be able to do more without having, more revenue base. For instance, I remember we had one workshop in Mansakonko. I was emphasizing there, and I used to say any gathering that I attended, that is introducing city tax in Gambia. All the places that I have visited in the world, it's only the Gambia that is not asking for the city tax. We have tourists, we have visitors coming into the country and go. They will make some litterings and other things. But now, the councils, it is the mandate of the council to go and declare those rubbishes. But what are they paying to the councils? I think to have this thing introduced for all the LGS to be collecting city tax is very important. It's going to create a lot for the councils. It might be very small for somebody to be paying $1 to that individual, but it's something big to that council. If you calculate it to the total visitors of that region. This is all what I have for the time, but also I would want our staffs to be more collaborative, to be ready to do the work effectively. Because definitely the council cannot say we will not take certain blames. The staffs must be ready to take up their responsibilities accordingly. But if you are given a mandate and you are not ready to fulfill that mandate, it means you are failing the council's mandate and you are failing your people. That's the taxpayers. So this is what I have. I thank everyone here. And honestly, I am appealing for this select committee to look into these issues by councils recovering back the lost revenues and also to empower us in certain areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. We invite the Chairman of Pasig Area Council.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. First of all, Chairman Select Committee and Vice, all honorable members present here, including my own colleagues, our technicians from the council, the local government service commission members, my own ministry staffs present here, subject specialists as EPPA, National Audit Office, GAGA, and all the protocols are duly observed. Press, Good afternoon to you all. First of all, before going into my first speech, I would like to take this opportunity to body who, in one way or the other, sympathize with Pasay Area Council on the recent inferno that happened at the Pasay Market. I thank you very much, Select Committee, for coming up with this foresight thinking. That is to create a baseline for the audited financial statements and activity report that are supposed to be presented to the National Assembly. I think as one of the honorable members said, it's a turning point for area councils. Turning point in the sense that we are getting a baseline from 2019 and report from 2019 onwards, which I think is a great turning point for us, and I'm sure all councils will pay heed to it. One thing I just want to appeal from the National Audit Office, as I rightly mentioned during our last sitting at the National Assembly here, that is, let the National Audit Office also come up with a standard format for all councils to use. Well, this is what the Minister of Finance came up for local councils when we used to have problems with our budget. But they came up with a standard format for budgeting, which is an IFMI standard. And for 2020, almost all councils' budget are IFMI standard. So I'm also appealing to National Audit Office to come up with a standard format for us that councils can embark on and do their reporting. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to deviate from this subject matter a bit. Though my colleagues have already lamented on it, other than the financial statement and the activity report. And this is the subventions that my colleagues have just lamented. We all know that the Local Government Act has said it, and it's written in the book that central government need to support or to give subventions to local councils, that they need to give us 25% of our development budget. We all know that local councils here did not have any natural resources with us. We didn't have any natural resources. Where we rely on is only on our daily tickets and our licenses that we collect, rates and taxes. This is what we rely on. And if you look at the amount of money that we derive from these taxes, cannot do all the development that we want. People are thinking that they are paying their monies, that they need development, while the amount of money that is being paid cannot actually do the development that we want. Because as rightly mentioned, the tariff that we are using, I think it's 1965 tariff. Still now we are using that tariff. And in 1965, or let's say in 1980, the cost of a bag of cement and compared to 2020 is quite different. If you want to do development with that same tariff, you want to collect that same tariff now and you want to do development with that, you cannot do any meaningful development before the end of your time. So I am appealing to the Select Committee to engage the central government to come up with the subventions and at the same time to honor the tariff that local councils are trying to come up with so that development can take place as we expected. Mr. Chairman, other than the subventions, according to the Local Government Act still now, government is supposed to give 3 grants to local councils. I think the Select Committee needs to engage the central government on these grants too. Because we all know rehabilitation of roads is very expensive, or even trying to construct a feeder road is very expensive. In some of the councils, if you want to develop a feeder road, maybe your whole budget will go there. It cannot even finish. Still appealing to the Select Committee to look into this matter and engage the central government on that side. One of my speakers said the governance section of the ministry. I think it's very, very important to separate the governance section from the Ministry of Finance so that they can only concentrate on governance issues. If that happens, I'm 100% sure all our problems will be taken care of by the governors, because they will be representing us at where we will not be there, and they can fight for the rights of the local councils. But without which, it's still going to be a problem for us. So we are appealing to the select committee to look into that. If they can create the office of the governance to be independent from the lands ministry, that will be very, very important. As we all know, local councils are government in parallel to central government. We are complementing government's effort, and anything that we are doing is according to the National Development Plan blueprint. We are not going outside of the National Development Plan blueprint. So I think if government sees that this is what we are doing, I see no reason why government should not support the local councils to carry on their activities. I will not bore you with a lot of talks or a lot of speeches. I would like to do the quoting here and thank the select committee on this foresight thinking that you have to create such a venue for us to come and sit with the local councils to discuss our problems, to know our problems and the way forward. On that note, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I will now invite the Chairman,
Thank you very much. I am happy, Mr. Chairman, that I am in attendance of this meeting, because if I can remember a couple of weeks back, when I came around with my team, the atmosphere was charged with a different atmospheric pressure. The words which we are coming from people, we are quite different from what is coming today. And then for that, I thank you for the change in attitude, I would say. I think what is amiss, or what could be added to what is happening now, because we all concentrated on one factor, that is the financial side. And I think the select committee is bigger than that. There are other issues which surround the councils. I think initiatives need to be taken so that we expand our scope of thinking, and before the challenges come and find us unprepared, so that we go abreast with development. Let us look at things affecting I think you have become the breadwinner of councils now. The ministry, to be honest, they have left us out in the open. And we have our problems. The minister, it's been stated, we challenged him to sit with him, and he promised to come around to see with us, but then I don't know what's happening. If we are to depend on that, we fail already. And I mean, he's not giving us the reason why he's not coming. And then we can't, most of us have always been saying it, we come from different walks of life. I'm talking about we, the politicians. We have not been trained in most of these things. We just pick them up and see what's happening. And if those staff, members of staff, like mentioned by the chairman, Brikama, if they are not open to us, we always walk the tightrope. We find it difficult. And then I am having that problem in my area. Development is a dream, as far as the Nyambure area country is concerned. It's a high time. The people cannot wait for us to understand. Government would have to come in. One of my colleagues mentioned about the NDP. We've been advised, we've been pushed, we've been cajoled to plan according to an NDP. What's the use? The NDP, implementing body of central government, is going on its own. Then what we have derived from the NDP, what are we going to do with it? Because it cannot be double. We cannot do it one side and government come and double it on the other side. If we have done it, I think with the idea that is behind the whole thing is, government will come, support us so that we implement the programs. Like when we talk about agriculture in my area, it's non-existent. I'm trying to mention Jahali Fatah, as a very, very key thing in this country. This could have led us into a happy, situation as far as the people are concerned. Nothing is happening because I go there most of the time just to look at things and dream on my own. Gambia cannot just continue on dreams. We have said a lot when the government changed. We said Gambia is a new Gambia. I don't know what is new in the Gambia now. Is it people crying, which is new, or their despair, which is new, or their lamentations, which are new? I think we need to do something together, and we are depending on the select committee now, as we have seen them come with a plan which is making us hope for the better. I would have hoped that now we would be working together as a team. The team in that all other select committees in the country would be planning things together so that all the sides are met in the they meet in the middle. So that what is being displayed right now is displayed in every area. But then I just don't want to waste time talking much. But then I want to thank you again, the select committee, Mr. Chairman. It is wonderful. I have hope that we can do it. If you're going to change this way, we can do it. But then the couple of weeks back, it was charged with malice. Because the apology I made came from the bottom of my heart, but I hated every moment of it. I didn't like it at all. And I hope people would understand that I've been voted by the people not to come and apologize to the country at large, but to work. When you see anything that is happening, which is not my fault, you should not make me apologize for them. I think the people who should apologize, maybe the president, for him to come and apologize on behalf of the people, or the ministers, or our minister, because they are not helping at all. They are not getting involved in what we're doing. If you ask them, they don't know what is happening at the level of the council. That's the honest truth. And we want to use you, if you would allow us, to get to them, so that we see them gradually. Even seeing them in our midst may change a lot, just like today. I thank you very much, and I hope I do that. I have not surpassed my position. Thank you very much. I apologize.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Let's have the Chairman for Chairman Area Council.
Okay, I want to seize this opportunity to recognize the presence of everybody. And I want to thank our President for that sensational speech that he has delivered, and all the speeches on the side of governance on the area councils. I would lament on 4 points. That is about North Bank, and all the councils are affected. I would say we have a natural constraint on the side of North Bank. And that has made most of the NGOs running away from North Bank. That is the river crossing. Okay, you are going to be at North Bank. They would say, oh, crossing is very difficult. I want to appeal to see that. Let them allow. We have only one NGO, ADWAC, that is operating in North Bank. And how do you expect to have development in North Bank when there is only one NGO that is operating there? So I want you to consider that, so that our people can have required development that is in North Bank. Secondly, I would say forestry. All our natural resources are going out, and climate change is seriously impacted in our people. North Bank is a farming community. If all our trees have been cut down, and the payment is going to forestry department, area council is not experiencing anything. We should be the regulator, because we are there for the people to see that our climate affect syndromes are not affected. But if you have allowed forestry to be collecting tax on the trees, that means they will be interested only on funds, not the climate change effects. So that issue I want you to consider. Thirdly, the Senegambia Bridge, which is shared by LRR and North Bank. These people are collecting tax from people around our area. If you go to Farafeni and Soma today, population has increased, vehicles have increased, littering has increased, and it's the responsibility of the councils to do the job. We are not getting even a butut out of what is collected, and this needs to come to council. I want this August body to consider that, so that some percentage could be paid to these two councils in order to deliver service to our people. Thirdly, I would say, fourthly, the intervention. I would say some of the ministries are intervening in our areas, coming with projects without consulting area council. And area council also have their own project. I will give you one example. In Darussalam, water resources is supposed to have a borehole there. They did not inform the council we also have another borehole there. They were unlucky to come to my office and say, Chairman, why do you have borehole in this area when we are supposed to have there? I said, thank you very much. I was waiting for you people to come to my office, but I have got you this time. Did you ever send any document to our office to say you are going to have a borehole in this area? We have NGOs here who are doing the same action. Philanthropists are here. Council is providing his own development. You are not collaborating with councils for any area to say you are going to have these boreholes there. And that has given me chance. Now they are coming to me for any development, but other ministries are not coming to us. So all the time we are having duplication of efforts in our areas, and I want the intervention of these areas, of the select committee, in order to see how best we can improve this relationship. I want to thank you for creating this environment, bringing us together to discuss issues pertinent to the development of this nation. This is the only way we can do to move forward for the development of this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Kerewan Area Council. I think that does it for the councils. Now what we do is we move the baton to the Chairman of the Local Government Service Commission, who is in our midst. After listening to all the interventions from the councils, we give the opportunity to also take the floor and share with us, as a commission, what is their position, and as a commission, what goodwill do they have working with the councils and strengthening the work that the councils are doing. Because my understanding is they have a link with the councils and the parent ministry. So, Chairman, the floor is yours, after which we will have the opportunity to listen to the Director of Governance at the Ministry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Without all the protocols observed, please allow me to go straight to the point. Mr. Chairman, two things before I come to the substantive issue. With your indulgence, allow me to say this, that we have almost digressed to a point where we've lost track of the agenda. And I want also to remind this August body that the ultimate raison d'etre for this meeting is to discuss as a family as to how we could together prepare acceptable financial statements that could be audited and be submitted to this select committee for almost transmission to the National Assembly. So please, let us focus the discussion on those. And I agree with Chairman Mansakonko that we need a special forum where most, if not, in fact, additional issues that would have been discussed, problems of the council could be exhaustively discussed. I think we should save some of these issues for that forum and zero on the need to prepare financial statements and how we could do that with your indulgence. Secondly, I have often, the councils, I've interacted with all the councils now, and they agree that the Local Government Service Commission's stand is that we avoid firefighting and adopt a strategy that could be comprehensive, proactive, and helpful to all stakeholders, councils, the ministry, the taxpayers. And I don't want to blow the trumpet of the Local Government Service Commission, but at least some councils have started making significant strides in that direction by way of changing or turning around their manpower situation so that we move away from the age-old sing-song of councils do not have capacity to a situation where we have strengthened councils that are capable of delivering onto their mandates. And if having said that, the issue of financial statements for me is but one aspect of the short-term strategy. Because even if we agree on a benchmark for 2019 as a basis for preparing financial statements, come next year we will cry about the same thing again unless and until we agree on a strategic roadmap and transformation for councils which will involve systemic changes to allow councils to prepare, among other things, acceptable financial statements. So let's look at it in total. The challenge we have now is, yes, financial statements, but we should think about the medium term. After we overcome this, what do we do to ensure that next come back and discuss the same problem, and also the long term? I think those are important. And for me, I want to encourage councils to begin thinking along those lines, that as to say, how can we change things from business as usual to business as unusual so that we avoid repetitively crying the same thing. So I think those are important. The issue of, if I come back home, the issue of capacity challenges has always been lamented with councils. I remember since I joined local government some 40-something years ago. Up to date, we are talking about the same capacity challenges. Surely, Mr. Chairman, can't we do something strategic so that we leave a legacy behind and we leave empowered councils behind? And I say this because the current core of chairmen and councillors and mayors, I agree, are doing a strategic and wonderful job. But their term will come to an end. Even if they are given second term, third term, sooner or later they will leave. Unless we achieve strategic and institutional changes, how if you bring another chairman, mayor to KMC, who is not Mayor Bensouda, but asymmetrical to Mayor Bensouda, he will reverse all the changes. So please, whilst we have that opportunity to have the current core of leadership, let us ensure that we institute institutional and systemic changes so that the changes we are doing now will stay and will continue to be strengthened in the future. That's my submission for now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Can we now have the Director of Governance representing the Ministry here?
honorable members here present, Assalamu alaikum to all other colleagues, all other protocols respectfully observed. It's a pleasure, first of all, to be here with our family, because as we start this gathering some few weeks ago, there is that same saying that it's a family meeting. I really want to buttress on that point that it is a family meeting. Like I always said, the Ministry of Finance and Regional Government cannot perform its functions without the local government authorities. That's why we are set up. Equally, the councils cannot succeed in what they do without our support. So we need one another. First of all, let me apologize for coming and on behalf of the ministry. It's unfortunate the Honorable Minister and Permanent Secretary are out of this country. So I am here with the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Admin and Finance, together with other colleagues to represent the ministry. We really welcome the meeting and all the comments are positive. We are all yearning for the same thing. That is, we want to see this country move forward. We want to see this country move forward. One key thing that I want to say as far as the topic of discussion is concerned is that equally like the auditor said, the director of audit responsible for councils, we need to change attitude in our work and we need to show extra commitment. We are in a family meeting, but we have to call a spade a spade. The problem lies on us as council workers. They came in 2018, but we were there from 2016, 2015, all this period that they are asking for the financial statement. We were there, the CEOs, directors of finance, we were there. We should be the custodian of the funds, in and out, and all the documentation necessary to enable us have what they are requesting us today to have. It's not the chairman's responsibility. It's not the mayor's responsibility. Let's call a spade a spade. They are not the accounting officers. In fact, personally, I want to say this, and let me be very clear, it's a personal opinion, which I think I have right to. The issue of giving 2019 as the starting period. When audit comes, it's the chairman, it's the CEOs, as the accounting officers who should respond to audit queries. It's the director of finance responsibility to ensure that all the monies in and out of council are well followed, monitored, and accounted for. So the leeway, the leverage we are giving them to say we were not in office should not have been. Let me say this. Because they are just coming, they are not the accounting officers. We were there. We were there all this while. But again, let me come back and say that please, this is a very big embarrassment to the local government, the whole family, including the ministry, for us to be called here to say we are unable to present A, B, and C, mainly due to untimely recording of transactions, lack of records. No, I don't think we should continue that way. Because we were there, all those monies coming in and out, we should have been able to account for it. And then let us make sure we change our attitude towards work. Local government is not one's family business. It's a public office that belongs to this country, the electorate and Gambians. So let us handle matters at local government as public offices with all the diligence it requires, with all commitment, and ensure that we account for every butcher that the taxpayers our poor mothers and fathers do pay to area councils. It's really embarrassing for us to sometimes go to certain gathering, you want to fight for the rights of area council, they will tell you, what are they doing? Senior government officials, again I will come back to the government, the machineries. We have to change our attitudes towards local government. It is government who created these local government authorities. And there is no condition in the law that says before government gives subvention to the area council, they should perform A, B, and C. But you do hear certain government senior officials asking you, what are they doing? So again, the Ministry of Finance should have been very, very important in this meeting, Mr. Chairman. The whole government consolidated fund. Ministry of Lands alone cannot do it. You know what happened last year. I had a tete-a-tete discussion with you. You know what really happened to get monies from Ministry of Finance. I am not pointing fingers, but this is a general comment. If we really want to solve the problem of subventions or monies from central government, Ministry of Finance should be here. They are the custodians of the funds. We don't have the monies in our account. We can lobby, we can advocate, and I am promising that we are doing that day in, day out. The Ministry of Finance should really be part of this gathering to really listen, and they understand that it is a requirement, it is law that says we should give these monies to area council. It is not fact. Again, we are talking about capacity. Let us make sure as council, together with the ministry and the select committee, with all other stakeholders, what do we do to address this capacity problem? I think that should be a key roadmap that should come out of this meeting. Not a temporal solution of sourcing out financial statements to be prepared. What do? We all have to be committed. Currently, there are a lot of vacancies in each of the councils. If we are committed, stopping us from advertising those positions, which the Local Government Service Commission is keenly interested in. So as councils, chairmen and mayors, I want you to support us in that area. All what we are doing as a ministry, and I know with the commission, is to ensure that we fill the gaps that are missing. We are not fighting anybody for advertising positions. We are not against anybody. I wish we can all have what we yearn for ourselves. But if we really want change, we need to work as a team. If you submit your list to the commission to say, or to the ministry, these are those on acting, let's work together and fill those positions. It's not anyone fighting one another. We all want to ensure that we work according to the laws. Let us respect the rules guiding local government. In any sector, if you really want to succeed, if you really want to make an impact, the rules guiding your operation should be respected, and you adhere to that. All these problems emanate from previous, the past, that they were not respecting the laws, promoting people to positions that they do not acquire the necessary qualification as per the scheme. However poor it is, there is a scheme of service for local government. Are we respecting that? We want to get our people promoted to positions which we obviously know they do not acquire the qualification. I have been saying this in our previous meetings. It's high time we put our house in order, and like my chairman said, it cannot be business as usual. We don't want to condone that. We are receiving a lot of procedural errors that have been done in the past. Very difficult to handle. Again, you respond and respond again. Some, in fact, you will not see reference materials to be able to back your arguments. So please let us make sure there is a service rule. However poor it is, it should be able to guide us. The Finance and Audit Act, very unfortunate. Currently it is under review. Majority are claiming that they are not aware of it. They are not au fait. How can we operate if we are not respecting, making reference to the regulations, the rules guiding our operation? We will never make a headway. As a ministry, when I took over, the first thing that I thought of was to review the regulations, because I feel there was that cry loud that things are not working the way they are supposed to work, the laws are not favorable. Gradually, we are working on all of them to get them regulated, to get them regularized, revised. But again, if we don't respect them, they will still be the same. Other generation will come and it will be the same complaints. So I really want to appeal to all my colleagues, be the administrative wing of the area council and the councillors, like the elected. Let us respect the regulations guiding area councils, and let us make sure whatever we do in line with the law, so that tomorrow history will judge all of us, whether we know it or not. We are complaining about other people's doing. All these problems are inherited. So let us work as a family. This is what I want to urge. We are ready to work as a family. We are ready to cooperate and support area councils. We know very well that this country cannot move, cannot develop, we don't devolve the power. I had the chairman of Kerawan Area Council. Government itself are implementing projects in the regions without consulting area councils. How do we make sure we create that link? The government in general should be aware of the role of the local government area councils. Why are councils created in the first place? How do we need to work with area councils? I received a letter yesterday in my office. They are trying to create a regional office. I returned all the copies. I said, send this report, these letters, they cannot be dispatched. The area councils have to be in these committees. And thank God they were able to listen to me. They were able, so it's gradual. We can't do it at once. It's a process that we need to work with patience and respect to law, so that we get what we want. But again, commitment. If you are in substation A, make sure you do what you are supposed to do. The auditor will always call me when he is frustrated in the regions on audit. Fatu, I think it's time for us to call a call of area council, a total revamp. We can't do it. It has financial implications that we are here crying for finance. How do we do it? But gradually we can change. Gradually we can do it. Let us just be committed and ready for change. Monies collected, let them be deposited in bank like the auditor query, timely recording, and then we respect the finance audit to do their job on timely basis. Cry about lack of record. Record should have been there. Order is important, more important. Assembly, honorables, please help us. You are the ones who enact most of the revenue laws they are talking about. You have the Jilima Act. It's not it's their law which permits them to collect something, which is in contravention with the local government and finance and audit, as well as other laws. Please, other laws when you are enacted, so that there is no conflict, to avoid some of these things. On that note, I want to thank you all.
Thank you very much, Director of Governance, who have ably deputized for the ministry. Now, I want to appeal. Can I make this appeal? I'll hand over the mic to the Vice Chair of the Select Committee, who, in consultation with the Local Government Act and the Finance Act, will read certain provisions on the Act, which are going to be part of the resolutions that we are going to agree upon. But Further to that, I want to say, because when we met the last time, we agreed that when you converge, you should tell us how many weeks or how many months or how many days will it take you to prepare the 2019 financial statement. We want to receive that information from the councils because we don't want to impose anything on you. Give us a time frame which is subject to review, agreeable between all the parties, and then work kickstarts. If you want, we can spare you 5-10 minutes to discuss among yourselves and then come up with a time frame. Minutes to discuss among yourselves. 10 minutes. So we can have a 15-minute break. 15 minutes break. 10 minutes for you to discuss, and then the rest of mankind, if you want to stretch your legs. Myself, I'm so pressed. I think this is an opportunity for me to work. So we have a 15 minutes break, and meaning we should reconvert by 1:45 to take another 10-15 minutes and call it a day. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Maybe you have time to better assemble.
Kaas pawa bi jeex na depuis démba xettali ma rek ni jaay nga jëndal ma kaas pawa balaa yére yi di wow dama paase.
fii amoo fi benn xaalis laa amut waaw may ma tuuti waaw Mamadou waaw ma ne dimbale ñu rek nga yónnee ñu kaas pawa léegi suñ kaas pawa moo jeex depuis démb ok baax na.
waaye yow ni jaay jaaxle naa de yow Mamadou naka lam ñoo jëndalee kaas pawa te fekk mu ngi bitim réew ni jaay.
xanaa xamuloo ne ak balu waaye mën na nekk ci bitim réew mun naa yónnee njabootam kaas pawa nga ci am benn jafe-jafe. ni ngay def yomb na da ngay log on to www.baluwo.com nga jëndee courant ci compagnie yi nga xam ne ñoo saytu wàllu courant ci dëkk yu mel ni Gambia, Sénégal, Mali, Nigeria ak Sierra Leone.